Did you know that your skin is so critical to life that burning just 35% of it makes death almost unavoidable even if every internal organ is perfectly intact? Or that your stomach has over 100 million nerve cells, more than your entire spinal cord, earning it the nickname second brain? Your body is a battlefield of miracles fighting for your survival every second, and most of us have no idea what's really happening inside. A man lies on a hospital bed. His heart has stopped. Two nurses rush in, pressing paddles to his chest. The machine beeps, once, then again. Suddenly his eyes flutter. He's back. Just one organ, barely the size of two fists, pulls him from the edge of death. But what if the true hero in that moment wasn't just the heart? Most of us never think about the liver until something goes wrong. Yet every single drop of blood that leaves your stomach and intestines passes through this dark red powerhouse first. It filters out toxins with ruthless efficiency, transforms basic food into life-sustaining fuel, and manufactures critical proteins your blood needs to clot when you're injured. Surgeons once thought removing large portions of the liver was a death sentence, until they witnessed something that defied medical logic. The liver regenerates with almost supernatural ability. You could lose a staggering 70% of your liver tissue, and within mere weeks it can grow back almost completely. A superpower no other major organ possesses. But what happens when this miracle organ is poisoned? Slowly, silently, by something millions of people consume every day without a second thought. In 2019, doctors across America reported a terrifying trend. Young adults in their 20s were arriving in emergency rooms with the kind of catastrophic liver damage typically seen only in alcoholics twice their age. The shocking part? Many weren't even heavy drinkers by traditional standards. Some were casual weekend drinkers who never imagined their livers were being systematically destroyed. The culprit? A toxic cocktail of hidden additives and processed alcohol combined with chronic sleep deprivation and unprecedented stress levels. The liver isn't just fighting alcohol anymore. It's fighting an entire modern lifestyle designed to overwhelm it from multiple angles simultaneously. And it's not the only organ paying the devastating price of our daily choices. At just 3 pounds, roughly the weight of a small laptop, the brain somehow holds every memory you've ever formed, every dream you've ever had, and every fear you've ever faced. But in 2020, researchers at Johns Hopkins discovered something chilling. Extended periods of loneliness and social isolation can physically shrink brain tissue, changes that precisely mimic the early warning signs of Alzheimer's disease. Brain scans taken before and after pandemic lockdowns revealed a measurable physical drop in gray matter in otherwise healthy individuals. The human brain, it turns out, isn't just shaped by physical trauma or disease. It physically restructures itself in response to emotion, human connection, and even heartbreak. So what happens to our other vital organs when the command center itself begins to break down? The gut might seem like a strange place to look for answers about mental health, but scientists now refer to it as the body's legitimate second brain for profound reasons. Your digestive tract houses an astonishing network of over 100 million nerve cells, more than exist in your entire spinal cord. Even more shocking, it produces a staggering 90% of the body's serotonin, the chemical messenger that helps regulate mood, sleep, and even sexual function. Some patients with depression or anxiety aren't just given pills anymore. They're prescribed specific gut-friendly diets as legitimate medical treatment. In one groundbreaking 2022 study, patients who consumed fermented foods for just 4 weeks experienced measurable improvements in mental health comparable to some pharmaceutical interventions. But here's where it gets truly bizarre. The stomach isn't really digesting food the way most of us imagine. What if the entity controlling your digestion isn't entirely human at all? Inside your intestines live trillions of microbes, bacteria that outnumber your own human cells by a factor of 10 to 1. These microscopic organisms aren't just passive passengers. They're active decision makers that determine how you process food, how efficiently you store fat, and even how your brain functions. In controlled laboratory tests, when unhealthy gut microbes were transplanted into previously healthy mice, the animals became noticeably more anxious and depressed. Then, when the same mice were given healthy human microbes, their fear responses diminished dramatically. Your mood may literally hinge on what you ate last night, or more accurately, what ate you. And as unsettling as that sounds, the immune system makes this relationship even more profound and mysterious. We typically think of the immune system like a specialized military force, white blood cells relentlessly pursuing viral invaders. But in the 2010s, researchers discovered something that rewrote medical textbooks. Your bone marrow, hidden deep inside your skeleton, can actually remember infections from decades ago. Even more astounding, it can pass that memory on across generations, fundamentally changing your response to illness illness based on what your grandparents were exposed to before you were born. In one remarkable case study, children in West Africa were found to carry stronger immune reactions to specific pathogens because of collective responses developed over generations of exposure to local viruses. Your body could be reacting today to a virus your ancestors defeated a century ago, but this evolutionary advantage comes with a potentially devastating flip side. If the immune system overreacts or misidentifies targets, it can become deadlier than any external threat. Autoimmune diseases like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis occur when the body catastrophically mistakes its own organs for mortal enemies. What could possibly cause our greatest biological protector to suddenly turn against us with such devastating precision? This question has led scientists to investigate the thymus, a small, mysterious organ tucked just behind your breastbone. This organ functions as a critical training academy for your immune system during childhood. By your 30s, it typically shrinks down and nearly vanishes, leaving behind only the immune memory it established during your formative years. But in people suffering from autoimmune conditions, something appears to go catastrophically wrong during that early training period. Cells meant to protect us never properly learn how to distinguish friend from foe. Groundbreaking research at Stanford now suggests that thymus health in childhood might be the single strongest predictor of autoimmune disorder risk later in life. But what about the organ we can never fully see, touch, or scan? Because it doesn't exist in just one discrete location. The skin is unquestionably the body's largest organ, covering roughly 22 square feet on an average adult. It doesn't just serve as a passive barrier, it actively keeps out billions of bacteria, regulates your core temperature with microscopic precision, and heals injuries with what can only be described as biological magic. But when someone suffers burns across more than 35% of their skin surface, death becomes almost unavoidable, even if every internal organ remains perfectly intact. Skin isn't just an external covering, it's a sophisticated command center with its own agenda. Specialized nerves in the skin detect millions of fragments of the outside world, vibrations too subtle for conscious awareness, microscopic bacterial threats, and even the emotional energy of others around you. Some researchers believe skin cells can sense stress hormones and trigger physiological responses before the brain has even registered that something is wrong. A landmark Stanford study found that people with chronic skin conditions like psoriasis became significantly more likely to develop a clinical depression, not because of appearance concerns as previously thought, but because their skin was perpetually locked in a fight-or-flight response state. Could your body be feeling pain that your conscious brain hasn't even noticed yet? And at the center of this biological universe, the heart keeps beating with relentless determination. It doesn't take orders from the brain as most assume. It has its own independent electrical system, capable of functioning even if disconnected from all neural input. In heart transplant surgeries, patients often report inexplicable symptoms, sudden new food cravings, personality shifts, and occasionally even fragments of memories they couldn't possibly possess. Conventional science struggles to explain these phenomena, yet documented cases continue to accumulate, including one woman who had never touched red meat, suddenly developing intense cravings for hamburgers after receiving a heart from a former rodeo cowboy. The phenomenon remains rare and controversial, nicknamed cellular memory by those who study it. But it forces us to confront a profound question. Do your organs carry not only your biological life, but fragments of your very identity? We spend our entire lives inside a machine more complex than anything humans have ever built or could even theoretically design. And yet, most of us never truly meet it until something breaks. Your body remembers traumas your mind has deliberately forgotten. It heals, regenerates, adapts, learns, and sometimes even teaches medical science something revolutionary. When one organ fails, the others fight harder in a desperate coalition to keep you alive. The question isn't how your individual organs work in isolation. The real question that should keep you awake at night is far more profound. How are you still alive at all?